The Philippines is being called Asia's rising tiger. But what exactly does this mean? Posting a GDP growth of 6.7% in 2017, the country has one of the fastest growing economies in the world, expanding at a rate unseen in the last 5 decades. The good news is, it's just getting started. The better news is that we have designed a brand new city to be the nucleus of this economic renaissance. Less than 1 hour from the capital, Manila, straddled by hills and blessed with tropical climate all year long. We are building the city of the future, a landmark development twice the size of Manhattan. Originally developed by the Americans for its secure and strategic location in Asia Pacific, Clark is being transformed into a disaster-resilient metropolis that will be competitive and attractive to a global market. It will consist of 4 main districts. The Clark Freeport Zone, an existing mixed-use complex established in the 90s. Clark Global City, which will serve as the primary business district. And New Clark City, which will house satellite government offices and a first-class sports village. Central to all of this is Clark International Airport, which will soon be expanded to accommodate up to 80 million passengers a year. This ensures that travel will be comfortable while trade is seamless. A city unmatched in connectivity, with access to world-class highways and the service of high-speed railways, connecting north to south and east to west, across surrounding seas and over oceans. Clark is a city built as living proof that business in this part of the world is not only easy, but simply better. With no red tape, lower taxes, and endless investment opportunities. This is a city prepared to attract talent so that the country's best and brightest will come here to work and choose to call this place home. Because this is a city that knows how to play, where you can unwind at your own speed, where safety is paramount, and people always come first. This is a city where history and culture thrive, where modern conveniences meet timeless traditions, and progress is driven by passion. This is a city with limitless ambition that may someday find itself among the great cities of the world, built for business so that time is always well spent, and built for people so that life is always well lived. This is Clark.
All right. Good day, everyone, and welcome to HR on the Go, where top trends and hot topics in HR and people management are coming your way. So buckle up and prepare for takeoff. HR on the Go is a joint collaboration of Clark HR Council and International HR Institute, airing live on the CHRC Facebook page every other Tuesday. If you are interested in becoming a CHRC member, join us via www.clarkhrcouncil.org/join. So there you go. We are on our second episode for season two. In today's episode, I am joined by an internationally recognized management and HR development consultant, and we are going to be talking about the multi generational workforce for a better normal. So today's workforce is highly multi-generational. Later on, our speaker will be talking about further about multi-generational and what really is it in the workforce. So employees know of different ages have different expectations from their employers. And responding to these expectations requires a sharper focus on building resilience within organizations and bringing on board the full potential of the employees, regardless of age. But with the right employer, practices, and tools, organizations can be more agile, more inclusive, and of course, more productive. And now, to help us further understand the impact of multi-generational workforce in the workplace, may I introduce to you our speaker for today. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree in psychology, an MA and a PhD degree in clinical psychology, and a master's in development management. She is a project management practitioner, a master black belt, a certified practitioner in human resources, and a fellow in personal management. She is bringing in 42 years of varied work experiences in the government, private, non-profit profit organizations, as well as in foreign and international companies. She is currently the president of Alta Best Management Services, and she previously held the post as senior fellow and director, human resources management and development of the Development Academy of the Philippines, or DAP. It is a training and research arm of the government under the office of the vice president. She is a trainer, coach, and a career counselor to employees organizations who desires excellence and continuous improvement, especially those undergoing organizational and personal change. She has closely worked with the industrial sector, private sector, and government agencies for the institutionalization and sustainability of the company employee relations program. It is now my honor to introduce to you Dr. Flor Glinoga, PMP, MBB, CPHR, FEM. Hi, Dr. Flor.
Hello. Thank you very much, Amine, and greetings to everybody for this particular topic that I would like to also discuss with everybody.
Again, Dr. Flor, thank you so much, no, for giving us time, no, despite your very busy schedule. You know, Dr. Flor, I'm very excited for our topic today because for a while, no, we always talk about the sudden hit of COVID-19, no, yung mga extreme. It's really one of the most extreme and unpredictable change in the organization that a lot of businesses had to deal with. But I think this is rarely being talked about, no? Multi-generational. Ito kasi yung kind ng change na nangyayari sa workplace na consistent. And it's not really something that, we can control or we can do social distancing. No, we cannot do that. It's really something that we have to accept in the workplace, no? And I'm very excited. So, Miss Dr. Flor, no, what really is multi-generational workforce?
We have right now at least five genre or different groups of people who are working together. And some people would find it very exciting, some people wouldn't be. But then again, isn't it good that we have diversity of different generation that they can contribute to the overall productivity of the company? So this different generation would probably have different values also, but then again, our purpose is really about making it happen, making it really successful for the company, and each and everyone of us has diverse values, different kinds of viewpoint, different kinds of the way we do things. So at least there is a combination of all of these different prospects, so that at the very least we will be able to come up with very good and successful production of the requirements in a company. So it's really this time around, it's very good that we have the five genre or the five generations or group of people who work together for the purpose of success of the company. So these people probably, if you know the different generation or genre, we have the
Mm-hmm.
traditionalist, probably pre 1945. So that would be my parents. I saw how they are, and I saw how they work in their job, and it's very good that despite the fact that they are considered to be branded as traditionalist, they are uh, uh, concerned about their job, and they have very good teamwork. And for those people who came after them, right after 1946 to around 1960, we are the baby boomers. I belong to that genre.
Hindi halata, Doc.
So yeah, I'm already a senior citizen, and I am described as such baby boomer. We were born after the after World War II, and so therefore we were raised in such a way that there is a bountiful amount of money and different. So we were somehow or the other quite really no. At least we were entitled to something. But then again, we were passionate in our job, and so that pretty describes our genre or our generation. And we have, of course, the generation X, the generation Y, the millennial, and finally the generation Z. So these are the composition of the different generation in the workforce today.
Mm-hmm. Ako personally, the Flor, I belong in the early Gen Z. Ayan, hindi lang halata, pero mukha akong
Oo.
millennial, but I actually belong to the Gen Z. And I'm
Oo.
just wondering, Doctor, which of these generations belong mostly sa mga workforce now? I mean, ano po yung generation na mostly pinakamarami sa isang company usually?
The ratio right now is 3:1. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the number of people who are quite young are the three that, and then the one we are slowly moving out, the baby
Mm-hmm.
boomers. So the generation X, Y, and Z are the one who are considered to be the majority of the employee
Mm-hmm.
population. So generation, for example, X probably are born right after 1981 to 1961 to 1980, and those who are in the generation X, what we call as millennials, are those who were born somehow or the other 1981 to around probably uh, 2000 something. So the generation Z are the young people nowadays, probably who are born somehow or the other from 2002 to around 2012. So there are different in the definition of different studies. The
Mm-hmm.
composure or the bracket with regards to the different ages may vary,
Mm-hmm.
but it means just the
Mm-hmm.
same. They belong to this particular period where we have almost the same kind of values, almost the same kind of
Mm-hmm.
beliefs and practices.
Mm-hmm.
We differ
Kasi
from one
for me,
another.
mhm.
Mm.
Mhm. Like for me, Doctor, no, I'm as I said, I really cannot determine. Am I still a millennial or am I still a Generation Z? What if it's just months or diba, or a few years back? Because I was born in January, so it's just a few months of difference. So how do I actually how do I consider myself? Ba talaga? What are my motivations talaga? No, I mean, of course it varies for every person, but for per generation, what are their motivations for when it comes to work? Per generation,
Well,
how do you actually differentiate them?
the difference among all the different generation is that we focus more or less on our values or beliefs. The traditionalists, for example, are really very conservative. They focus more on teamwork, and
Mm-hmm.
for us baby boomers, we focus on ourselves. We are
Mm-hmm.
somehow self-fulfilling and wanted to really produce for
Entitlement.
ourselves, and for
Mm-hmm.
those, yeah, and for those who are considered to be belonging to the generation X probably and generation millennial or Y, they are more well uh, ex- well they focus more on others because they are considered to be millennial and therefore they wanted to socialize more or less with the networking that they have, especially the Gen Z who wanted to really go into technology and things like that. So generally speaking, the X, Y, and Z has almost the same kind of work attitude because they were born, they were raised with computerization, with automation and robotics perhaps, or probably in the future, more technology.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned about their similarities as well. I think, Dr. No, it's very important also that we focus on the similarities for managers or organizations to know how they'll be able to cater to all of this. No, am I correct? So
Yes,
dapat
we
din mag-focus on
yeah.
similarities.
Despite the differences with regards to age patterns,
Mm-hmm.
um, there is one single similarity among all the generation. It's something to do with
Mm-hmm.
finance. Uh, Despite that we have this high technology, we
Mm-hmm.
needed to have a face to face because finance, money has something to do with trust. So
Mm-hmm.
this is something that all generations actually share with each other. That whenever we handle any kind of financial transactions, we wanted as much as possible a face to face encounter. So this is something that we share with one another. This is an isolated case whereby we will be able to also have the same kind of prototype on face to face. We wanted as much as possible, despite the fact that we are now into online buying,
Mm-hmm.
online everything.
Mm-hmm.
Nonetheless, we wanted to know exactly who these people are. Uh,
Mm-hmm. 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 So
in fact,
employee
I saw,
engagement are very
yeah.
important as well. Mm-hmm.
So this
So
is
yeah,
something that uh, we share.
mm-hmm. Correct. It's very important that we do share have this same values, parang work on the similarities and do face to face or let them meet virtually and engage all of these people. Now, with these
That's correct.
generations, what are some of the challenges, naman, Ms. Dr. Flor, that arise in a multi generational workplace?
There are several differences by which we really work with the values that we have because different generation has different beliefs or principles, and so that's where probably the major differences or the challenges work. So the company should be able to at least mend or probably discuss this matter with every generation. For example, the traditional is very conservative, and so therefore any kind of changes would at least be explained to them. And for the baby boomers, we are more rather into isolation because we believe in personal fulfillment, and we wanted to work all alone and probably be able to be successful for our own personal fulfillment. And for the Generation X and Generation Y, Generation Z, almost the belief is that everything can be done very, very fast. And so we have the fast food, we have everything is fast. The average uh, daily handling, daily time is almost 5 minutes on a global basis. So we have to be as
Mm-hmm.
fast as we can so that we will be able to deliver because uh, many people are now very impatient about these things. And this is typical in the XYZ generation. The impatience, not to be waiting for anything that we
Mm-hmm.
wanted.
Mm-hmm. So there are really different, different ways of them handling changes in an organization. And I have to agree with you with the latest generation. We do really have a small, not really a small attention span, but rather we do everything fast. If we can have it done and quick and then proceed to the next, I think that's really how the latest generations work. And as you mentioned with the boomers, you said that they work better in isolation, but the most important thing is really make sure that all of these changes are being communicated well to all of these generations for them to be able to adjust to it. So that's a really really good insight that I learned. I just learned now. How do you communicate with them, Dr. Flor? Because you said that it's very important that we have to communicate with them, all of these changes and all of that. How do you communicate with them?
For the first two generation, there is no technology yet to do the webinar, to do the chatting, or to do the automation. So we would rather like face to face
Mm-hmm.
most of the times. But there is an invention of telephone, there is an
Mm-hmm.
invention of the cellular phone, and so the
Mm-hmm.
option would be rather. But for the first two generation, the traditionalist as well as the baby boomer, we are more attuned to face to face. But right now, we are learning how to do it through webinars, through things like this one, like what you are doing for the X, Y, and Z. So the X, Y, and Z are so familiar with the different social media, with the different automated things. So that's how you are able to communicate, and it's very fast. So the email as well as but the thing is sometimes people ignore email, people ignore also these things that we wanted to show, wanted to have a response. So I don't know if it would be better if we can call them immediately, or if we can probably do something about face to face also. So for the first two generation, it's face to face, and for the XYZ, more on social media, more on automation, email, more on. But the thing is, we need still face to face. We still
Mm-hmm.
need face to read people, because that's how we
Mm-hmm.
read people. The highest form of intelligence is really intuition, no?
Mm-hmm.
Pakiramdam. Paano yung
Mm-hmm.
pakiramdam kung di mo nakikita talaga?
Like the non-verbals, Dr. Flor, correct? Like the
Yes, that's
non-verbals
correct.
at first.
Yes,
And
that's correct.
you'll
It's
be able to see observe rin kasi how they are, how they are absorbing all of the
yeah,
announcements or
that's
changes or ano, you'll be able to observe it face to face. Ako kasi
yes. So
personally po, I'm still believer of doing face to face, no. But of course, probably a lot of our viewers are working remotely, or actually our previous episode prior to this was also remote communication. So I think no, it's a very important thing that we also consider. Like even if we're transitioning to the remote setup, it's still very important that we remain intact. No, we still have this face-to-face connection once in a while, especially if we do have the earlier generations with us in the organization. So that's very important. And I think Dr. No, the earlier organizations rin naman are adjusting na eh, di ba? As you said, they are adjusting to the digitization of everything virtual. Parang sila din mismo kailangan nilang mag-adapt dun sa nagiging changes.
yeah, yes, we do. Most of those who are in the first, I think, leadership positions are the
Mm-hmm.
traditionalists as well as the baby
Mm-hmm.
boomers. But we are slowly going out into retirement. And so the ratio is 3:1. There are three
Mm-hmm.
people, the X, Y, and Z, and then the baby boomer as well as the traditionalist who are still in the workplace.
Mm-hmm. Understood. Now I'm just wondering, Doc Flor, there are I think organizations kasi that are very focused on keeping it. I mean, it's still very diverse, but in a way that they're keeping their generations in the organization mostly Gen Zs na or millennial. What can you say about that, Doc Flor?
There is a need of wide guidance, and perhaps they should be given the opportunity also to shine, because as of the moment uh, the Philippines is still very traditional when it comes to leadership and management styles.
Mm-hmm.
We are somehow a little bit autocratic at this point in time, because the traditionalists as well as the baby boomers are really of the old generation, and therefore, and they are the, the heads as well
Mm-hmm.
as the owners of many different companies. So I wish that in the future the one who will succeed, the XYZ, will be able to also become more democratic in terms of beliefs and
Mm-hmm.
principles, because that's how probably we can uh, democratize and have more participation of everybody in an organization.
Mm-hmm. Correct, correct. Now, what value or benefit does a multi generational workforce bring to an organization?
Again, let me repeat diversity. So,
Mm-hmm.
what you know, I may not know also. What I
Mm-hmm.
know, you may not know also. So, but
Mm-hmm.
as a group, together we can become one. What my belief, my principles are, will contribute somehow or the other to the overall productivity of the company. So, we need to understand, we need to also integrate many of these different values and principles as an organization. So the traditionalist born pre for 1945, the baby boomer from that of 1946 to 1960, and then the X from that of 1961 to around 1980, and then the millennial from 1981 to probably 2000 something. And then the generation say are the one coming in, probably aged 22 years old and below. So you will be the prime mover. You will eventually be the one who will succeed as leaders, as managers of many organizations, and
Mm-hmm.
with you will be bringing your own particular values and beliefs also. So
Mm-hmm.
for as long as the values are considered to be following the laws of man and the laws of God, so probably
Mm-hmm.
this is okay. I've been in HR for 42 years. Nobody likes any kind of HR because we are controlled. But then again, everybody has to follow. Everybody has to
We're still
follow
part
the
of
company
management.
rules and regulations. Yes, but
Mm-hmm.
normally people don't like us. We are
Mm-hmm.
contrabida. Oo,
That's
we
correct.
are considered to be uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, we have to do our job. Everybody has
Mm-hmm.
to follow. The moment that you become an employee, only obligation is to follow. Follow.
Mm-hmm.
Following the laws of man and the laws of God.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Now
ganun
that you
lang po. No
mentioned
matter what.
Mhm.
Mm-mm.
Now that you mentioned na 22 years old below pala ang Gen Z, mukhang hindi na po pala ako parte ng Generation Z. But I really
Generation
appreciate
Teka. Oo.
what you
Ha?
mentioned about what you mentioned po about kanina having various generation yung what you don't know, 'di ba, parang even if you have 42 years of experience with you, you can still learn from a generation Z. And even if you are a generation Z working on all of these technologies and all of that, we still have something to learn every single time to our earlier generation. So I think it's really really very important that we learn from one another in a multi-generational workforce. Kaya talagang nare-realize ko now na parang kung one generation lang, we're gonna be working the same way. No, tapos kung wala tayong leaders that are boomers and all of that, it's gonna be different for an organization po talaga.
That is correct. So, we learn from each other, especially with regards to how we are going to work
Leadership
together.
also. Yeah, and I think leadership also, Doctor, because I think, I think naman the latest generations are very ano din naman po are very good leaders. But I think we do have a lot to learn from the earlier generations, like from the baby boomers, like how they are very independent, no, and all of that. Now, I'm just wondering po, with the latest generations, the last few generations, as you said, a lot of the earlier generations are pa-retired na. No? So how are these
Pa-retire
three
na po.
generations? So
Mm-mm.
paano po ang three generations na to? How do they work paano na po yung transition nila now? Na tatlo na lang ang natitira. What do you think ang mangyayari in the future?
Again, let me repeat that there should be proper guidance, appropriate guidance, and teaching or training or development programs for everybody to learn something, especially what is being required from each and every employee. So this can be done through perhaps developmental programs on actual. The leader should be able to teach people on an actual, for example, special assignments, stretch assignments. So 70% of which should be done actual. There is a law in the academy that whenever we develop people, 70% is actual and 20% coaching. That would mean that the concerned supervisors and managers should be the one doing these things. 10% only is on training.
Training and the
So
70-20-10
yes,
rule. Mhm.
yes. So 70-20-10, and the 90% of which is being done by the concerned supervisors and managers. So there should be proper endorsement, training, developmental programs, and everybody will be able to learn. So this is a legacy that the supervisors and the managers can also bring to the company. That's the reason why I would like that HR people should be able to conduct at least 1 year supervisory and 1 year management development program, so that the three generation will be ready now and in the future.
Mhm. This is very nice. Now, what are some effective employment practices naman, Doc Flor, that can be used to foster this age-inclusive workforce? Because, as I said a while ago, there are some organizations that are parang they're limiting their employees, no, if that's even possible, if that's even allowed in the law. But there are some organizations who are really limiting an age range, no, they want to keep it young, parang mga ganon. How do you What are some employment practices that can work?
Oh, there are, of course, different training and developmental programs that we can bring to the corporation or the organization, by which we will be able to have teamwork. It's not something that we will just say, but we will do. This is, we have to respect and recognize, of course, the seniors, as well as, of course, we have to also respect and also recognize the abilities of the junior. So there should always be trust and as well as respect, because these things will probably matter if, for example, there are certain things that we need to discuss, because there should always be understanding, there should always be respect, no matter, even for example, if we are different from one another. Many people are really uh, against the old people because they don't like to follow. In
Mm-hmm,
many, yes, in many of my consulting engagements, I conducted a
mm-hmm,
lot of focus group discussions, and at the same time a lot of different survey, and they were saying that they don't like the oldies. Because they have difficulty in managing, difficulty in probably changing, and difficulty in
mm-hmm,
adapting. And I said, you need to discuss this. You need to talk, because the greatest intervention is usually communication.
mm-hmm,
Communication by conducting coaching, by conducting, for example, and it has to be remedied by the organization. It
mm-hmm,
has to be obligated that no matter what your age is, you need to follow. This is
mm-hmm,
something that HR can do on their behalf, that they should be able to uh, at least propagate this particular communication. We have different communication strategies,
mm-hmm,
coaching, counseling,
mm-hmm.
training. So these things has to be done
And I
in
think in
such a
recruitment also, no, Doctor, kailangan dun pa lang sila ang sasala ng mga tao. So I think that's the first step also, no, how they can make sure that
oo,
there's a diversity when it comes to age as well.
that's correct. Kasi sa totoo lang po, challenges in recruitment, we don't like to hire people who are already 35 years old. And this is a reality. I was once invited by De La Salle to discuss
Mm-hmm,
about different challenges in recruitment, and age matters. Because
mm-hmm,
sa totoo lang po, meron tayong barometer ng ng age eh. We do not like to hire people who are already quite more than 35 years old.
mm-hmm,
But then again, for example, if it is a labor-intensive company, yung productivity mo, we need people who are young. This
mm-hmm,
is a reality. But
mm-hmm,
we have a law. We have a law also that discourages not to hire people who are already not that young. However, we still have that kind of challenges. There is difficulty in really obliging many people or many organization to hire also with diversity, because there is an age range that they will put in their ads
Mhm, mhm.
for for
Is that ano po ba, allowed by law na mag-add ng age on recruitment posters?
nilalagay nga pati eskwelahan eh. Oh,
Ay, oo
eh,
nga, Doc
dito
Flor,
sa
ano, oo.
Pilipinas, dito lang
Mhm,
nangyayari
age.
yan eh. Oh,
Mhm,
yung edad pa kaya sa abroad, ayaw nang nila niyan. Oh, you can't even
mhm,
ask how old the applicant is.
mhm.
If the applicant will not volunteer. Pero dito, nilalagay, must be a graduate of UP,
Correct,
Ateneo and
correct.
Delacay. Oh,
Mhm,
masyadong discriminatory po.
mhm,
Very
mhm,
discriminatory. So,
mhm,
it's happening. It's still happening despite in spite of COVID. We are very
mhm,
selective. There is discrimination.
mhm.
It's a
How do we
reality.
address discrimination in recruitment, and how do we address this in HR?
There should be a position coming from the top, from top management, that these things shouldn't be allowed at all. But these things
Mhm,
are happening anywhere else in the Philippines. So that's the reason
mhm,
why I don't know, because there's already a law. There's already
mhm,
even a law that at least in the employee population, the PWD should be given also the chance to be employed, at least
mhm,
5%
correct.
of the total employee
Mhm,
population. But these are
correct.
challenges. These
Mhm,
are challenges that by age, by school, by uh,
mhm,
gender, even by
mhm,
gender, because of maternity leave. We have so
mhm. Correct, correct.
expanded 160 days already. So
Mhm.
the
Ayaw na sa
recruitment
babae,
people will
doctor.
not hire.
Mhm,
So there are a lot of discrimination, and I believe age is one of them.
mhm. And
Especially if you are hiring in a manufacturing company,
oh yeah, because labor
for
po is
example.
the mhm. Because labor is the main priority when it comes to those kind
Yes,
of
yes,
industry. Ano? Mhm.
yes. That's the strength comes from the
Mhm.
age.
Mm. How do you think ba, Dr. We're slowly, because as you know, a lot of people are ano now, are politically aware, no, or parang yung mga tinatawag na woke, no, Dr. Do you think that we're slowly getting that diverse workplace, not just in terms of age, but in terms of everything, religion, and all of that? You think we're slowly getting there, or malayo pa?
It will take time. Basically, we're still very conservative.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
don't like even to hire LGBT group.
Mm-hmm.
We always believe that they have the tendency to at least be dishonest, because they need money to support uh, those things that they wanted. So there's always, basically, we are still very conservative. Even we laugh, even if we smile about
Mm-hmm.
something,
Mm-hmm.
we still have these conservative beliefs.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
I
Kumbaga
I wish
parang
that,
mhm.
oo.
Kumbaga parang some would say na, yes, I am pro this one and pro this one, but in reality, there really are reservations to this. Parang
Yes,
pagiging pro,
yes.
'di ba? Correct. But with your experience, as you know, you do have a long range of experience, 40 years of experience already. How are the changes in say 10 to 20 years from now to the current situation within in terms of going back to this generation in the workplace? Are there any improvements po ba, or mas nag-decrease pa? How is it different from before, the floor?
We are improving in such a way that what you have stated in the introduction, that we are improving. I hope so. With the mindset of young people nowadays, probably
Mhm,
it will take a little bit of time, or perhaps 10 years from now or 20 years from now, we will be able to accept, we will be able to understand, and we will be able to at least have apology for those things that are not necessarily really very productive and
mhm,
successful in our beliefs. So sometimes we need to depend on top management to also
mhm,
propagate, also promote this particular mindset. to
Mm-hmm.
accept and to have democracy in terms of participation. So, ang utos ng hari hindi mababali. Kasi kung
Mm-hmm.
what the belief of top management is will happen.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Correct.
if, for example, the top manager or the president or the chairman of the board is a little bit young, the
Mm-hmm.
probability is that these things also will happen.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is, right now, in many different companies, in many of the companies where I was the consultant, there is
Mm-hmm.
second and third generation that are managing their own different companies. So they have a different viewpoint. So perhaps we will rely on them to provide that kind of changes.
Mm-hmm.
Open-mindedness,
Mm-hmm.
understanding,
Correct.
and perhaps diversity, respect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's correct. That's correct, Dr. Flor. No, I think apart from being having an open mind, I think we also have to focus. I think on the KSAs of the candidates or applicants in the future. Baka kasi ang focus natin masyado is have a multi generational workforce, but baka at the end of the day makalimutan natin yung competencies that are needed for the job. But I really hope, Doc Flora, that in the future, apart from considering the KSAs of the employees, we do also consider like what they can bring to the organization, and of course having an open mind, not just an HR top management talaga, because no matter how much HR pushes for one thing, if the top management cannot support it, it's really gonna be difficult for the organization entirely.
That's correct. That's correct.
Mm.
So we are depending more or less on the top management's mindset to make these changes.
Mm-hmm. Alright. So, there you have it, Doc Flor, no, ang bilis natin ng conversation natin, ang dami na nating napag-usapan agad. Now, last question na lang, Doc Flor, if there are any, are there last messages or last advices for organizations starting out there, especially for startups who wants to have a multi-generational workforce in their organization?
Uh, for that, I would like to have the open-mindedness of people who make that kind of decision, especially for those people in the top management, that they will be able to accept, to also understand different generations. Because in the different generation, if we have a population of traditionalists, baby boomers, the X, the Y, as well as the Z, we will be able to at least have different opinions, have different, and probably come up with a commonality. We will be able to, as a group, be able to move forward. So I would like to encourage that top management or top people in any organization should have the liberty or the openness of mind to also accept many of these different generations that will be coming in, and uh, the challenges in terms of recruitment of age, as well as in different competencies, technical and as well as behavioral, should also be given importance, so that perhaps you can pursue your in many different private companies. The purpose always is profit. The purpose is about money. And so how can you have money if, for example, your people are not that open-minded, are not that multi-generational? So I'd like to propose to everybody that please be open-minded, and please know exactly that this different generation can bring to the group, can bring to the company for purposes of success and for purposes of productivity. Because multi-generational, that means to say you have an open distribution of employees working together for for the purpose of success. So even in the government, we need to also have an open-mindedness and respect for each other. So even if, for example, we are old like me, many people don't like people who are already quite that old, because we have difficulty in adaptation and difficulty in changes. Nonetheless, we can be taught. We can learn.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because of our age, but because it is a necessity. And all the more, the XYZ should probably be guided also.
Mm-hmm.
So, with the experiences of the traditionalists and the baby boomers, they can share the experiences. So, I'd like to have that uh, view that you can get multi-generational to work together in your company.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Thank you so much, Doctor. I've learned so much this afternoon. And again, to everyone watching right now, no, you reassess your organization. Check if you have various generations in your organization. Baka kailangan pa no ng more, or say for example, no, there are different things that different generations can bring to your organization for you to be able to produce better outputs and increase your productivity in the workplace. Again, thank you so much, Dr. for sharing your time, no, best amidst your busy schedule, and of course for sharing your expertise and knowledge in effectively managing a multi-generational workforce. And again, to our viewers, if you are interested in the future to go back no to our or revisit past episodes, you may visit our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Again, HR on the Go is a joint collaboration of Clark HR Council and International HR Institute, airing live on the CHRC Facebook page every other Tuesday. So again, if you're interested in becoming a CHRC member, join us via www.clarkhrcouncil.org/join. So again, thank you so much, Doc Flor, for this afternoon. It's bountiful. I've learned so much. And again, before you end, Pupala, do you have anything to promote?
Um, Nowadays, I'm into training, I'm into consulting, and if you wanted to contact me, please just contact Miss May
Yes, sure,
or the
sure.
CPHR. I'd like to share with you many of the different experiences as well as my area of expertise. My area of expertise is HR. 42 years, apat na dekada.
Wow.
So I
Ang
hope I
daming
can share with
generation na
you.
lang nabuutan.
Apat na dekada po.
Alright.
Multi-generational.
Multi-generational na ang experience din ni Doctor when it comes to HR. So again, if you are also in need of consultancy needs, no, you may also reach out to Doctor, or you may also reach out to me as well. So again, thank you so much, Doctor. To our viewers, thank you for tuning in this episode of HR on the Go, Season 2. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss May.
Thank you, Doctor.
The Philippines is being called Asia's rising tiger. But what exactly does this mean? Posting a GDP growth of 6.7% in 2017, the country has one of the fastest growing economies in the world, expanding at a rate unseen in the last 5 decades. The good news is, it's just getting started. The better news is that we have designed a brand new city to be the nucleus of this economic renaissance. Less than 1 hour from the capital, Manila, straddled by hills and blessed with tropical climate all year long. We are building the city of the future, a landmark development twice the size of Manhattan. Originally developed by the Americans for its secure and strategic location in Asia Pacific, Clark is being transformed into a disaster-resilient metropolis that will be competitive and attractive to a global market. It will consist of 4 main districts. The Clark Freeport Zone, an existing mixed-use complex established in the 90s. Clark Global City, which will serve as the primary business district. And New Clark City, which will house satellite government offices and a first-class sports village. Central to all of this is Clark International Airport, which will soon be expanded to accommodate up to 80 million passengers a year. This ensures that travel will be comfortable while trade is seamless. A city unmatched in connectivity, with access to world-class highways and the service of high-speed railways, connecting north to south and east to west, across surrounding seas and over oceans. Clark is a city built as living proof that business in this part of the world is not only easy, but simply better. With no red tape, lower taxes, and endless investment opportunities. This is a city prepared to attract talent so that the country's best and brightest will come here to work and choose to call this place home. Because this is a city that knows how to play, where you can unwind at your own speed, where safety is paramount, and people always come first. This is a city where history and culture thrive, where modern conveniences meet timeless traditions, and progress is driven by passion. This is a city with limitless ambition that may someday find itself among the great cities of the world, built for business so that time is always well spent, and built for people so that life is always well lived. This is Clark.